That would usually help.
Is a good thing to do.
All right. Come do this. All right. Ready to do it to it?
Yeah, mate.
Let's do it. Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas! What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Booth Review. As always, I am your host, Devin Primrose, joined by my brother from another mother, Mr. Blake Ivy. What's going on, man?
Not much. Just realized, thanks to my wife, I forgot to silence my phone, so I've done that now.
Hey.
Good, man. It was a little bit of a hectic weekend. I thought it was going to be a little more relaxing than it was. Was out of town celebrating my grandmother's 85th anniversary, 85th birthday, not anniversary.
Anniversary of her birth.
Yes. 85th birthday. We went to Gatlinburg or Pigeon Forge. To be honest, I don't really know where I was because it wasn't until like the second day that I realized I wasn't in North Carolina. I don't know why. Just the whole time I thought these two places were in North Carolina, and I was like, man, why are these cities just like trying so hard to rip off Tennessee? And like, because I would see like the 3 stars everywhere. They were like Tennessee volunteer stuff in the stores, and I'm like, don't you have like your own colleges?
Have you never been to Gatlinburg?
Nah, man.
That was your first time,
Never in
really?
my
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
for real. Never been. So
It's just
anyway,
it's the Myrtle Beach of the mountains. That's all it
it
is.
really is.
Yeah.
Like that's what I had a buddy of mine that was like, yeah, it's basically just Panama City in the mountains.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So like white trash paradise.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
exactly what it was.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like it's fun to visit, but yeah, not for like an extended stay.
Yeah, it was good. And so Sunday we were actually at Dollywood. And so that was fun. I was able to, like, while we're waiting in line on rides and stuff, I was watching some Red Zone. I was really bummed because I was out of area to be able to watch the debut of my rookie QB.
I
Not that it
mean,
was much to be watched, but
yeah,
like he from what I've read, from what I've seen, it was what you should expect from a rookie QB.
yeah.
Like he wasn't awful, but he wasn't lighting it up either. So
I mean,
there
for
was some struggles.
what I've been saying all year is that I don't think he can be any worse than Mariota, and honestly, I don't think he was. I think he was probably right around the same level of production, and maybe I think he might have even made a couple of better plays than Mariota would have in similar situations.
Right.
But yeah, it definitely was not anything spectacular, and nothing to write home about. But first game, he's got 3 more this year. Let's see what he's got.
Yeah, threw for less than 100 yards. Ugh,
Yeah,
that's
yeah. But they
throw any picks.
Yeah, no picks. They were able to move the ball thanks to Tyler Algier having a spectacular game for them, and came up just short. But that's the way it's been most of the season for them, coming up just short. So
yeah,
definitely have a bright
future
there, I think.
I feel like a genius having Tyler Algier in our deep league.
Yeah. I mean, that's a
great
pick.
Drafted him because I knew what I had heard rumblings of from camp. But anyway,
that's awesome.
Yeah, so I didn't get to keep up with it as much as I normally would, but was able to keep up with Saturday's games. Yeah, it was it was good. It was a good weekend. How about you, man? How
That's
you
awesome,
doing?
man. I'm good. I chilled all weekend. I did nothing. Did nothing, and it
Nice.
was fantastic.
That's great.
Uh, yeah, there's a
That
there's a
that
John Mulaney joke about like when you're an adult and you have nothing to do, it's like crack. It's like,
yeah,
what'd you do? I did nothing. I did nothing. It was fantastic.
right. Yeah, like, I wish that, they would rewrite what is it? Is it Garth Brooks' song that's, "Some of God's greatest gifts are unanswered prayers"?
Yeah, I think
I
so.
feel like they need to rewrite it for adults, and it's "Some of God's greatest gifts are canceled plans."
Yeah,
Like, that's
100%.
just the best, is when it's like, "Oh, wait, I don't have anything?
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah,
Deal. I'll do that."
yeah. It was good. I got
Nice,
to
man.
just kind of lounge around and watch a lot of football.
There you
So
go.
that was a good time. It was a good time. There
Yeah.
was some crazy games on Saturday.
Oh, man.
Admittedly, when so the Vikings got down 33 to nothing in that game against the
Yeah,
Colts, and I actually fell asleep on the couch when it was 33-7 because I thought,
yeah,
what's the point of staying awake? This game's
yeah.
over with. I woke up and saw that it was like 33-29, I think, or something like that. I was like, what is happening here? So I turned it on and saw like the last bit of it. But yeah, just craziness,
Yeah.
craziness.
Actually, that leads into my best of the booth.
Hey, there you go. That's what I'm
I,
here for.
the same thing for me. That was actually the day we were celebrating my grandmother's birthday, and so we're all hanging out, but we had it on the TV in the background, and,
Yeah.
actually, my cousin Sydney, he said I was like, "Yeah, my brother-in-law and I have a NFL podcast." He said, "Yeah, booth review." He said, "I listen." I was like, "What? That's crazy." He was like, he's like, "That's your brother-in-law?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "I wonder how you knew this guy." So anyway, so shout out to Sid that he listens to the podcast.
Hey, thanks, man.
Yeah, it was good to see him this weekend. But so we pulled it up and we pulled the game up and we were talking about it, and then I think it was probably around halftime that's when my grandmother started opening presents. We did cake, all that kind, and we just turned it off. It was like,
Yeah,
this
it's
is over, man.
pointless. Yeah.
Like, and then later, I was checking the score for the second game of the afternoon. The Bengals, I mean same
Browns
division. The
Ravens.
Broncos, the Brave, yeah, them. I don't know why my brain today, man. Just let's just be prepared for that to be this episode, okay?
Cleveland and Baltimore, second game.
Cleveland, Baltimore.
Yeah.
They're orange. The Ravens, they played. So I was checking that score, and I saw that it was in overtime for this game, and they were about to kick a field goal. And I was like, wait,
Yeah.
what? So my best of the booth, surprisingly, is gonna go out to the Viking defense.
Okay.
If there was anything in this game that was consistent, it was the Vikings defense. They only allowed 1 touchdown. They gave up 36 points, and the Viking defense only gave up 1 touchdown.
Hmm.
There were in the first half is when the Vikings scored 33 of their 36 points. There were 4 field goals and 1 offensive touchdown, and then the rest were special teams and pick 6.
Yeah.
So the Vikings defense is not to blame for if anything, they're what made this game it's what set this Vikings team up for a comeback is because they completely shut them out other than 1 field goal in the second half. If you're going to come back, that's step 1. You got to stop them. You got to
Absolutely.
keep the offense off the field. They held Matt Ryan to 182 passing yards, which I mean, that's pretty low for a Matt Ryan game. You know, Matt Ryan's a quarterback who when you see that the scoreboard says they've got 36 points, you're thinking, okay, Matt Ryan probably has thrown for 250 yards. Like
Yeah.
you're like, this is probably so he only had 180. They did give up 171 on the ground, which is a lot. I mean, don't get me wrong, that's a lot. But the fact that this defense, they were able to get to Matt Ryan pretty consistently, which is a running theme for the Colts. But made him uncomfortable, sacked him 3 times, and this defense just played lights out football. If you get down 36-0, it's real deflating,
Yeah.
especially for a defense. So for this defense to come out, and especially a team that's not Well, I mean, we've talked bad about their defense before, and honestly, that's kind of where I was thinking. What I was thinking when this game was happening, it was like, man, this team's defense. But it wasn't the defense. Like when you would think in a game where the Colts scored 36 points, it's like, man, the Vikings defense gave up a lot, and they didn't. They didn't give up very much. The total team stats on this game are crazy. Total yards, the Colts had 341, which I think total yards includes like returns and stuff like that. Um, and the Vikings had 518. 518 to 341, which I know 341 doesn't sound like a lot, but then when you get into like the passing, 170 yards for the Colts, 426 for the Vikings. I mean, it's just insane, especially when Colts only had one turnover. It was a fumble that was lost. I don't know, man. I just think that the Vikings defense to come in and stand their ground, not get deflated, not get run over, just I mean, continue to keep this team in the game is incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, because that's a Vikings defense that we have kind of bashed here and there across the season because they've been inconsistent. They've got talented players, but they keep allowing teams to put up points against them. And yeah, you're right. This game it wasn't that. There was the pick six early on. There was the I believe it was a blocked
punt. Yeah,
that they got returns for a touchdown or at least set him up close, something like that. And yeah, it was really weird because this is a Vikings team that has allowed a lot of teams to score on them, but they were allowing teams to score in such odd, weird, fluky ways where it's like this is just everything that can go wrong is going wrong. And credit to that team for not giving up and coming out of halftime and making it a point to go down and score some points themselves on offense. And shout out to Kevin O'Connell for whatever game plan he changed up, adjusted at halftime, whatever speech he gave at halftime to inspire those guys. Yeah, hats off to them. I mean, great, fantastic job with the comeback, and like you said, the defense absolutely helps to set that up.
Yeah, that was wild. So anyway, I just wanted to, it's like when you look at standout performances for the day, holding a team to allow your offense to do that. It's like it's one thing, and again, that's one of those like best of the booth. It's not surprising that this Vikings offense could score 39 points on the Colts in a half. Not surprising.
Yeah.
What is surprising is any NFL defense allowing 36 points and only one of those is a touchdown, and only 3 points of that came in the second half.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and coming back from being down 33-0. I mean, I think a lot of teams when you're down by 5 possessions, they're gonna give up. They're gonna say, this might be a little too out of reach, but like I said, credit to them for not giving up and continuing to fight. And that honestly leads into my best of the booth. There was a lot of good comebacks this weekend. And one of them was by an unlikely team that has been talented but inconsistent throughout the year, and that was the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jacksonville was down 17 points at one point in the third quarter to this Dallas Cowboys team. And that's, whenever we previewed this game last week, we said, we could see this being a close game, potentially being like a 31-27, 34-31 type game with the Cowboys winning, or it could very easily be a 31-17, 31-14 type game where Cowboys just dominate. And that's what it was looking like in the third quarter. It was 27-10. About midway through the third quarter. And then the Jaguars scored 14 unanswered points in a matter of about 4 minutes of play. 2 quick touchdown drives with a defensive interception sandwiched between them, in between those 2 drives. So 14 unanswered points scored by the Jaguars to kind of turn everything around, make it 27-24. They hold them, force them to a 3-and-out, get the ball back. Go down, score another touchdown, go up 31-27, and then all of a sudden it's a ball game in that fourth quarter. And this is a very, very fun second half into the overtime, and just a great performance all around by this team. I think on both sides of the ball. Trevor Lawrence went 27 of 42, which is just under 65%, 318 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 pick. Zay Jones was the top receiver with 6 receptions for 109 yards and 3 touchdowns. Shout out to you if you had him on your fantasy team, because you probably just made yourself put yourself in a championship game, or at least into the next round.
Well, they probably had him on the bench, so
That is true also. That is true also. But
you did that on your bench.
If you did happen to put him in your lineup, congrats. Travis Etienne, 19 carries, 103 yards. I think that's just over 5 yards per carry. Great average. And then arguably the biggest factor on the defensive side, Rayshawn Jenkins had 18 total tackles, leading the team, and then he had 2 picks, one of them being the pick 6 in overtime to ultimately end the game, finish it off for the Jags. Just a fantastic performance on both sides of the ball, doing what they got to do, never giving up, just like the Vikings, never giving up despite. I mean, I don't think most people going into this game did not give Jacksonville a chance. And if anything, they thought, like me and you both did, that it would be close, but ultimately Dallas is too good of a team. And
I think we lost your mic. There we go. Got you back.
Am I back?
Yeah. Last thing I heard is ultimately Dallas was too good of a team, I think is what you said.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, that's probably about right.
We thought that ultimately Dallas was the better team. Yeah.
Most people thought that ultimately Dallas would be the better team, but credit to this Jacksonville team. And honestly, this is the kind of game where maybe we should start worrying a little bit about Dallas. They've had a couple of performances like this where they've had leads and given them up. We should go back to the Packers game about a month or so ago. It's a little worrisome what they've looked like, and this Jags team I think is getting hot at the right time. They've won 4 out of their last 6. So this could be a little bit of a game changing moment for both of these teams down the stretch of this season.
Yeah. Yeah, you brought up is it Stevenson? Is the guy you brought up, the defensive player?
Rayshawn Jenkins.
Rayshawn Jenkins, yeah. So neither of what I said. Rayshawn, he was actually almost my best of the booth. That's what I was going to do for my best of the booth.
Yeah.
And then I remembered that you were going to be talking about and highlighting Trevor Lawrence and this Jags team. So I was like, man, I don't want to do best of the booth. But yeah, he was the league's leader in tackles this week.
Yeah.
And had that game-winning pick.
Yeah.
And had
another pick. He had 2 picks that day. Yeah.
I mean
that's like
out.
Almost as close to a perfect game as you can get as a defensive player, having 2 picks, 1 being a pick 6, and leading your team in tackles with 18 total. Like,
yeah,
incredible,
ridiculous. Yeah, super good. Do you want to go under review next, or do you want me to do it?
I can.
Which one?
I can.
Go for it.
My under review is another comeback victory. Only this guy was on the losing end. We've talked a lot about this man and his play this year, and I'm gonna get a little shout out from your son Zeke over here and play this.
I'll say that Tom Brady is still a doo-doo head.
You're right. He is still a doo-doo head. Tom Brady had 4 turnovers on Sunday. For as good as Tampa Bay was in the first half of this game, where they were up 17-3 at halftime, Tom Brady was equally as bad in the second half, turning over the ball 4 times on 4 straight drives. That ties a career high for most turnovers in a game. He's had moments where he's looked good this season, but most moments he's looked like he should have stayed at home, and Sunday was absolutely no exception to that. The Buccaneers may win the NFC South, because honestly, at this point, it seems no team wants to. They all keep giving each other chances, and nobody wants to take them. But nobody should be scared of getting to play a game in nice 60-degree weather down in Tampa in January, because somebody's going to do it, and they're probably going to go on the road and get a huge victory, because this team is garbage, just like every other team in the NFC South. And they had a chance. They had a chance on Sunday to kind of maybe get a little momentum down the stretch by getting a big win over this Bengals team, and they came out looking hot. They were stopping Joe Burrow and the boys, and then Tom Brady single-handedly, I feel like, gave that game away by turning the ball over that many times himself. 2 interceptions, 2 fumbles. It was awful.
Yeah, that's what's crazy to me is that the narrative on Sunday is people talking about Matt Ryan and his blown leads. Matt Ryan had 0 turnovers in that Colts game.
Yeah.
It was not Matt's fault. Same thing with the Falcons' 28-3 Super Bowl loss. And none of that was on Matt Ryan. Yeah. Absolutely none of that was on Matt Ryan. And yet he's the one who gets blamed for both of them. Meanwhile, Tom Brady blows a 17-point lead with 4 turnovers, and everyone's like, Bengals are just good. Bengals are just good. Nobody wants to talk about it being Tom Brady's fault. But when it's Matt Ryan, that's the narrative, is let's talk about how garbage Matt Ryan is. But yeah, I also almost had the Bengals defense as my best of the booth, just because anybody who can make Tom Brady turn the ball over 4 times, hey, thanks.
Yeah. And I do have to say, something I've thought about over the last couple of weeks is we keep talking about Tom Brady's regression as the reason why this team continues to lose and not be the dominant team that they've been the last couple of years and the team that we all expected them to be. And I feel like at some point, some of the blame needs to be put on Todd Bowles as the head coach.
Oh, yeah.
This is his first year with the team in a head coach capacity. But he's been a head coach before, and he failed in New York. And I said that I thought he was going to be a failure in Tampa, and so far it's looked that way. And I think at some point you should consider potentially at the end of this season moving on from Tom Brady and moving on from Todd Bowles and just kind of starting fresh.
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't was it Todd Bowles already on the staff?
Yes, I believe he was defensive coordinator last year, and I want to say that Tom Brady had a hand in getting him elevated to the head coaching job when Bruce Arians stepped away.
Yeah, I feel like that whole situation, the Bruce Arians, like, it feels like it was late that all of that happened.
Yeah, it was.
Like, almost like it was when Tom Brady announced he was coming back is when it all happened. Anyway, I don't feel like Todd Bowles is their long-term solution.
I agree.
At head coach, and I think that his tryout is going very poorly.
Yeah. 100%.
So, yeah, I'm with you. This it's a nice time to be a Falcons fan, because the rest of, like, it's not like we're at the bottom of the division and everybody else is like on the right. No, everybody's in shambles, and honestly, we're probably doing the best out of all 4 of those teams, other than maybe Carolina.
Yeah, I think the Falcons are best set up long term amongst the 4. Like looking towards the future. This year, I think it's still tough because the Falcons haven't done themselves any favor by playing so many close games and being on the losing end. And a lot of times, like, it's self-inflicted reasons why they're on the losing end. So they haven't done themselves any favor to try and win that division, despite the best efforts of the other 3 teams in giving it away. But I do think that team is best set up for over the next 5 years to position themselves back atop the NFC South.
Yeah, and what's crazy is that I saw the other day somebody tweeted that the Falcons went from the worst cap situation in NFL history in this last offseason, the worst, to now I think in this coming offseason we'll have like
you got
$85 million
in
cap space.
Yeah.
And part of that is because we're absolutely going to cut Marcus Mariota at the end of the season, because that guy is a bum. Marcus Mariota's a bum. I'm on that train now. He's a bum. I'm done with him. And there's no way they're keeping him on that roster. And so they cut him, and I think it gives them another $15 million in cap space. It's like, what? Well, yeah, do that. So anyway, I digress. But yes, I love watching Tom Brady's career explode
Yeah.
and just go down in flames, and not a blaze of glory, just absolute a dumpster fire, really.
It'll be interesting to see what happens going into next year, because a lot of people have speculated on whether or not he'll keep playing, and if he does keep playing, it's probably not going to be in Tampa. So where's he going to go and all that, blah blah blah. And I'm just done. Like, just go home and be with your kids, man. Just
Yeah.
go be a family man.
Well, he don't want to be that apparently. So
I mean, that is true. That is true.
But-
Who you got
Anyway.
under review?
under review, I'm gonna go. I actually have 3 guys under review: Ramondre Stevens, Jacoby Myers, and Mac Jones. Those 3 guys, all under review, because the Raiders and Patriots are tied 24-24. Last play of regulation, Ramondre Stevenson busted up the gut, 23-yard run. Time is out, so like there's no point in doing anything. And so he decides to pitch it back to Jacoby Myers, who then tries to pitch it to Mac Jones and just throws the ball directly to Chandler Jones. He had the last name right. I mean, I'll give him that. Got the last name right. And so, like, putting Ramondre Stevenson under review because, like, why did you even start this nonsense? Why? Why? What are you doing, you dummy? And then Jacoby Myers for being the dumbest and just chucking it back to was he throwing it to Mac Jones? What was Mac Jones gonna do at that point?
That's gotta be.
Can't throw it forward. Like, why? And then I'm putting Mac Jones under review because he looked like a kindergartner trying to stop Chandler Jones. Which, listen, Chandler Jones is a beast of a human being. I would not look any better trying to stop Chandler Jones. But also, I'm not getting paid to be on an NFL football field. So I feel like if you're out there, you can't, like, if I were trying to run to the end zone and my 5-year-old son were between me and the end zone, I would have done exactly what Chandler Jones did to Mac Jones. Looked like it was his son. This is my son, Mac Jones, and I'm going to put his face in the dirt, and I'm taking this to the house. Raiders win. And it's like, what just happened? It was truly one of the most baffling. You talk about comebacks this week.
Yeah.
This was the most ridiculous series of events that I've maybe have ever seen. It was just like, what? Why did you do this? Especially on a Bill Belichick coach team to do something this stupid. Like, I'm surprised that Bill Belichick hasn't quit or cut all 3 of these guys and just been like, I'm done. I don't want either of you on my team anymore. We're going back to Zappy.
I almost feel bad for them because you know that yesterday at practice, first time back at the facility after the game, they absolutely heard every bit of it from Bill Belichick. And I do wonder, I do wonder why in that moment Ramondre Stevenson would even think that. It's a tie ball game unless somebody from the sideline said, hey, try and make some magic happen. But I can't imagine anybody on that coaching staff under Bill Belichick saying that, because he's usually been so good at situational management, knowing what the situation is, where we're at in the game, and it's a tie game. Just go to overtime. Just go to overtime. Yeah. Look, you call it a draw play because you didn't want to risk turning the ball over,
right?
And he did bust loose. You thought for a second, okay, maybe he's got a chance to get out of bounds with a little bit of clock time left, or maybe he's going to bust loose, get to the end zone, but he didn't. Just go down. Just go down. I didn't understand it at all. It was one of the wildest endings I've seen in a while. And honestly, this is like comeback weekend right here, because the Patriots should have been out of that game. The Raiders had, I think, another like 14-point lead, which is what they've done. It seems like almost every game they've had a lead and then given it up to lose the game. And they should have had that game won earlier. And for whatever reason, it came down to the final play. But just ridiculous way to end it.
Yeah.
Just crazy madness. We got a legit or counterfeit?
I've been trying to think of one. Okay.
So,
did you have one?
Kind of.
Okay.
I don't know how fun or how good or anything like that this will be, but this is a fun little look ahead towards a division race that's getting fairly tight.
Okay.
As we discussed earlier, as of about like 10 minutes ago at this point,
Yep.
Jacksonville just came back and beat the Cowboys. They now sit at 6-8. The Tennessee Titans on Sunday lost to the Los Angeles Chargers. They are at 7-7, a game up in that division, a game up in that awful, awful AFC South. Over the last 6 games, the Tennessee Titans have gone 4-2, or 2-4. Sorry, 2 wins, 4 losses. They've lost 4 in a row. The Jacksonville Jaguars, over their last 6 games, have gone 4-2, 4 wins, 2 losses. The remaining schedule of both teams, the Jacksonville Jaguars play at the Jets, at the Texans, and then they play at home against the Titans. Titans get the Texans, and they get the Cowboys, and they travel to Jacksonville to face the Jags. So, legit or counterfeit, the Jacksonville Jaguars will come back and win the AFC South to make the playoffs.
I think legit. I think at this point I would. I guess this is a spoiler alert. I've got them beating the Jets this weekend. I've got them. They should beat the Texans next weekend, but who knows? Nobody
Yep.
knows how to play football against the Texans.
Yep.
And then I think they beat the Titans the last week. Titans on the flip side, they beat the Texans this week. They lose to the Cowboys next week, and then I think they lose to the Jags. And so
Yeah.
with those remaining schedules, I probably would say that we're going to see some Trevor Lawrence in the playoffs.
Yeah. At that point, I'm with you. I have both teams doing the exact same thing. And at that point, they would be 8-8, both teams 8-8, going into that week 18 showdown. And the Jags already have victory earlier in the season from 2 weeks ago over the Titans.
Yeah.
So they control their own destiny. They win.
Yep.
They win out. They're in. Yeah, I'm with you. I think that the way these two teams are trending, it's been almost a drastic turnaround for this Titans team. I think there's a lot of good on that defense, but the offense is just so bad. We saw that on Sunday. They can't do anything outside of Derrick Henry. And Derrick Henry tried to do as much as he could on Sunday. He rushed for 100 yards. He had 50 yards receiving, and they still lost because they can't do anything if he
And they've got
without him.
the worst, if not the second worst, pass defense in the league. Terrible.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, which with Byard back there as the safety, like I did not see that coming for the Titans. Especially, I mean, I feel like over the past 2 or 3 years, their pass defense has been very solid. So to see
Yeah.
them just absolutely fall off the cliff in that category, you know, their defense needs to be top notch.
Yeah.
With how one-dimensional, and especially with it being a run heavy, because you're not going to play catch up, so you need to keep the game low scoring, and step one of that is defense.
Yeah.
So if you can't do that, if your pass defense is one of the worst in the league, you're gonna, you know, the conversation we frequently have is comparing them to the Lions, and even in just that the how good the Titans run game is and how good the Lions pass game are pretty mirror images of each other. I would say that those are, the difference though is if you're not going to play defense, which neither of those teams do, if you're not going to play defense, it's way better to have a good passing offense because you can play catch up. It's
True.
way better because you can just hang with anybody. That it's like, sure, you might be able to score 40 points on us, but we can score 40 points too. And so the Titans can't do that. If they can't hold you down, then they're not going to be putting up a ton of points. So, you know, it's really just it's a you've got to have defense if you're going to be a run heavy team.
Yeah.
Which you see in Atlanta and you see in Chicago, that it's like their offenses look fine, but their defenses are so bad
So bad.
that they can't hang with teams.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, I think legit. I think that the Jags are probably trending upwards, and that defense still. I'm not sold on the Jags defense,
Oh, I agree. Yeah.
but they beat the Cowboys. So like you gotta give them that and see what they can do from that moving forward.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, the Jacksonville Jaguars have the highest strength of victories in the AFC. So based off their schedule and the teams that they have beaten, the teams they have beaten are the best of the. They have the best win percentage overall amongst all the schedule in the AFC. I think you understand what I'm trying to say.
Right.
Yeah, they have the best strength of victory, which is interesting. When you look at, they've only won 6 games, so they make it count whenever they're playing good teams.
Speaking of interesting,
Yeah,
can I give you some more interesting in that same vein?
yeah.
I'm sitting here looking at the just division standings of the league.
Mhm.
And what's caught my eye is the point differential. So there are 4 teams in the league, I think, with a point differential over 100. The Bills 135, the Eagles 143, Cowboys 125, and the 49ers 128. I mean, just like monstrous.
Mhm.
Their score versus their opponent's score. In that division, Tennessee has a point differential of negative 38, while the Jaguars have a point differential of positive 6. So even though they have a losing record, they have outscored their opponents by 6 points
Yeah.
total over the course of the season.
Yeah.
Which is just very interesting. Another interesting point to note is the AFC East, they all have a positive point differential: Bills, Dolphins, Patriots, and Jets.
Right.
Meanwhile, in the NFC South, all have negative point
Yeah.
differentials.
Yeah. By like double digits, I believe.
The best being Atlanta, whose is negative 27.
Yeah.
And then
it's rough.
the Saints are negative 29, Panthers negative 38, Bucks negative 41. That's bad.
Yeah,
That's
it's been rough. I wanted to say real quick, if the Jags do end up winning the South, they will be the 4 seed, because there ain't no way they're moving up any higher than that. They will be the 4 seed. Currently slotted in as the 5th seed is the Baltimore Ravens, who are banged up. Lamar is potentially coming back this weekend, but who knows what he's going to look like over the next 3 weeks. Could we be seeing Jacksonville in the divisional round?
That's crazy.
I mean, that would be. I mean, they would probably be taking on the. I guess the Bills, assuming that the 2 and 3 seed take care of business, they'd be taking on the 1 seed. But yeah, that'd be interesting. I mean, I'm here for it. The Jags are a fun team, so
right.
I'm always down for a fun underdog, and that's what the Jags look like. But yeah, it could be a spicy next 3 weeks and an interesting first round of the playoffs over in the AFC for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I say we turn our attention to Week 16. We only got 3 more of these until we get into some postseason glory.
Woo!
I say it's time we get picky with it.
Getting picky with it. Getting picky with it. Getting picky with it. Getting picky with it.
Do
we have any clinching scenarios?
I don't have the clinching scenarios pulled up. Give me a second and I will do that. I do have some news on who has clinched and who has been eliminated. So we have, adding to the I'm trying to talk and type at the same time. Adding to the eliminated stack, we are adding the Rams and the Cards this week. I don't think the Rams were on there last week. I think they're new to the pile.
They are. Yeah.
The pile of garbage that is the eliminated stack. So Rams and Cards. We have some clinched divisions this week. San Francisco, Minnesota, and Kansas City have all clinched their divisions. And those teams who have clinched berths but have not quite clinched their divisions yet, Bills, Eagles, and Cowboys. So things are starting to shape up, starting to get to see who's going to be where. 4 of those NFC spots locked up. That's crazy.
Yeah. Yep.
4 of those NFC spots
Yep.
locked up. So according to NFL.com, playoff clinching scenarios for Week 16, you have the Bills can clinch. Somebody's talking to me in my ear because a video started playing without my permission. The Bills can clinch the AFC East if they win or if Miami loses. The Bengals can clinch a playoff berth if they win or if the Jets lose.
Mm.
The Ravens, there's a list of 10 things that can happen that the Ravens clinch a playoff berth with. Just a bunch of stuff.
Ooh.
It's kind of a long shot, though.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like number 1 is a Baltimore win, a Minnesota loss or tie, and a New England loss or tie. The last one is my favorite. A New England loss and a Jet loss and a Cleveland loss or tie and a Vegas loss or tie and a Tennessee loss or tie and a Chargers win.
So basically, every team that's still alive for a wild card has to lose in order for the Ravens to get.
Except the Chargers. He wants the
Right.
Chargers to win.
Okay.
For some reason. The Chargers can clinch a playoff berth. It's kind of similar. They've got to have a bunch of people lose and they win. The Eagles can clinch the NFC East if they win. And they can get a first round bye if they win. So
sounds about right.
They get it. And then the Giants can clinch a playoff berth if they win and Washington loses and Detroit loses, or a couple other things. So you've got those that can happen. And then let's flip the page over to elimination scenarios and see if we can't figure out who could be eliminated this weekend. Elimination scenarios, the Saints will be eliminated if they lose and the Bucks win. The Falcons will be eliminated if they lose and a bunch of other stuff happens. If they lose and the Bucks win, or the Bucks tie and the Panthers win, and then there's a whole list. Packers can be eliminated if they lose and the Commanders win. The Colts are out if they lose. Or if the Titans win, or if the Jaguars win. Any of those things will eliminate the Colts. The Jets, if they lose and a bunch of other stuff happens, they will be eliminated. The Steelers are out if they lose. Browns are out if they lose. Vegas is out if they lose, and a couple other things happen as well. So you got a lot of teams facing potential elimination this week. So things are getting spicy.
It's getting serious
over here. Yeah, it's getting weird. These games matter, as opposed to the other games that we played the rest of the season. Those didn't matter. These games matter. So you gotta have them. Backs are against the wall. Jobs are on the line. Somebody's mama's not getting fed. This is for real, for real.
Well, it all starts on Thursday night over on Amazon. We talked about the Jags. We talked about the Jets. They're facing off on Thursday night. This is one of the spicier games of the weekend because there's a lot of duds this week. This one should be a good one on Thursday night, kicking off the holiday festivities a little early. Thursday, December 22nd, we have the Jacksonville Jags heading up to New Jersey to take on the New York Jets. Currently, the line is even. There is no favorite in this game. which I think is probably fair with the way the Jags have looked, with the way the Jets have kind of trended down recently. I believe Mike White is still not cleared to play, so we're going to have another Zach Wilson game. Zach Wilson didn't look terrible on Sunday facing a Lions defense that will give you all kinds of passing yards.
Yeah.
You would hope that he would have looked a lot better. He made some good plays at times, but he made a lot of bad plays. So I think that they're probably, as soon as Mike White is healthy, going to go back to him and give him another chance to win that starting job and see what you have moving into next season, and see what kind of quarterback situation you're looking at. The Jags, all they got to do is keep on winning. Just win, baby. That's all you got to do. Keep on winning. You're going to get yourself into the playoffs. So you have a huge opportunity this week facing a good Jets defense. Tickets are as low as $19, which is incredible because the Jets have a pretty loyal fan base, and they're in a playoff hunt. Like, they're not out of it. You could go see this game for $20. What are you doing?
Well, especially because there's not much else to do in New Jersey. So
yeah,
other
and
than
like
go to New York.
And it's kind of mild weather compared to typical December New York weather. I feel like 34 degrees ain't bad. I've got the Jags win this one because I feel like the Jags are just on a roll. They're getting hot at the right time. Who you got, man?
Yeah, I said it earlier. We both talked about this game already, getting a little bit in the our legit or counterfeit. Yeah, I've also got the Jags in this one. I don't know. It's just something about the Jags team. They seem to be starting to click. Meanwhile, the Jets look like the wheels are starting to fall off, and just so many questions at QB. It's just not a good situation there, which is crazy that the Jets are still having QB issues after getting a top pick over and over.
You chose the wrong guy. That's what happens when you can't draft properly. You get stuck into a cycle of not having the right guy at the most important position.
But they do a great job drafting defense, and they did a great job on Garrett Wilson.
They do. It's you just I feel like so much of that quarterback class was overhyped. It was let's all pump all these guys up and get these teams to waste high picks on them, and that's what it is. It's a waste. And we talked about it before the season that credit to the GMs this year for not following the hype and drafting guys like Malik Willis in the first round or Desmond Ridder in the first round. Even Kenny Pickett, I think, could arguably have been a reach going in the first round and getting him. But yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough because that Jets team is talented at every position except for quarterback.
Yeah.
And really, I mean, you could use some offensive line help too, but the offensive line hasn't been bad. They haven't been bad. Yeah. Let's move over to Saturday. Most of our games will be on Christmas Eve this year on Saturday. We do have a handful of Christmas games, but most of the football action will be on Christmas Eve. So starting us off at 1 p.m., over on Fox, we have the Detroit Lions heading into Charlotte to take on the Carolina Panthers. It's a big cat battle at Bank of America Stadium. The Detroit Lions on the road are currently 2.5-point favorites. I think that's fair. I think they're in a better position. I think they're the better team. I put them at number 10 in our power rankings last week, and I feel completely validated after this weekend, despite all the arguing from you in the Discord about the Lions being better than the Titans. I think that Sunday kind of proved why I have so much faith in this
Both of those teams, it was almost a tie. You have a last-second touchdown from Justin Herbert. A last-second drive to get you a field goal, and then the Jets were almost in field goal range and missed a field goal. So let's not say that there's a huge disparity between these two teams.
It was like
that are both 7-7.
Okay, the Lions are still better, and they're trending in the right direction. They're better currently. They've won 6 of the last 7. The Titans have lost 4 in a row. So it's
I thought you just said earlier that the Titans are 4-2 in their last 6.
No, 2-4. I misspoke. I corrected myself.
Okay.
Yeah, they're 2-4 in their last 6. They've lost 4 in a row. And like I said, the Lions have won 6 of their last 7. It's a good team, man. It's a good team. And they're facing the Panthers. I've got the Lions in this one because I've got the Lions making the playoffs, and I think they're going to do it as long as they keep on winning. Who you got, man?
I think that this line is spot on. They've got the Lions favored by 2.5, and I really think that what we started. I said it last week. What we've started to see from this Panthers team is a lot better than what we saw at the beginning of this year.
True.
And I think that this is very similar to the Jets last week. This is a matchup problem for the Lions
Can
because
be.
if you can stop the Lions, if you can hold the Lions to under 20, you've got a real shot at winning the game, which is exactly what happened in this Jets game.
Mhm.
I don't know. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna just do some live research here on the podcast.
Oh boy.
We're gonna do some research on these defenses because I, talk a lot about how great the Jets defense is and the Panthers. Panthers defense pretty terrible. Cool. All right. Well, that's good to know. Not nearly as good as the Jets. The Jets have the 4th best scoring defense in the league. Let's look at their passing defense. Let's look at the Panthers' passing defense. Panthers are they give up 211 yards per game, so probably going to give up a butt ton of yards this game as well. Yeah, I'll stick with the Lions in this one. I thought it was going to be maybe a little bit closer. We'll see if the Panthers are able to. Their defense has been playing a little bit better as of late, but we'll see if they're able to do anything to slow down this Panthers team. But I do have the Lions in this game, even though I do think that it is going to be a little bit closer than people expect. And by people, I mean you.
I just want to know if you're coming around to like believing in them, though. Like believing that this team is actually a good team.
Oh, I listen. I wouldn't. I don't think I've ever said. I have definitely not said recently that they are a bad team.
That's fair.
I said that I've been hesitant on them all season. I wasn't ready to declare it a new era until they won more than their previous season, which they did. It took them longer than you expected, though.
True.
But they did. They are looking a lot better. I really would be. I think I would like to see this team in the playoffs. I think
Yeah.
that they're a noisy team. I love their offense. Their offense is so exciting.
Yeah.
I love Amon-Ra St. Brown. I love what they're doing in that offense and how high flying it can be. They're protecting Jared Goff. Their running game is solid enough to keep teams honest, so you can't just defend the pass. I really like this team a lot. And I'm coming down on the Titans. I would say at this point that yes, the Lions are better than the Titans.
There we go.
I would say that at this point. But I don't think it's this like huge gap between them like you guys are making
I
it
agree.
seem.
No, I don't disagree with that. I think that what it is it's. I think I said this in the Discord that I feel like these two teams are complete opposites of each other. To where Tennessee's defense, when it's hitting on all cylinders, it can cause problems for just about any team. And
Yeah.
Detroit's offense, when it's hitting on all cylinders, can cause problems for just about every team. But they're suspect. Detroit is suspect in defense. Tennessee's suspect on offense. There's a couple of parts where they shine really well, but for the most part, Tennessee's offense is garbage. Detroit's defense can be garbage, although it's looked better recently.
It has,
And I think that it's just a case of these two teams trending in opposite directions at the same time. So
Yeah.
Tennessee is trending down badly. Detroit is trending up quickly. But
Right.
I still think both these teams have very good head coaches. I think that they'll be able to figure it out moving forward. Tennessee moving forward, I think is going to be able to figure it out going into next year. I think that they have probably blown this year, but there's still a chance they sneak in, depending on what the Jags do. And I think I would rather see Detroit in than the Commanders, than the Giants, than maybe even more so than the Seahawks. I think they're just more of an explosive team at this point in the season that can cause for a better matchup in January against whoever they end up playing.
I'm with
So-
that. Yeah, I think the Lions. I would agree with you that the Lions are like they're like the mirror image of the Seahawks from where the Seahawks started the season off hot
Yeah.
and then have been like they have fizzled. The Lions, it's been a slow burn to this point that they're they are growing and getting better as the season goes on.
Yeah.
And both of them have some bright spots on defense, but nothing consistent enough that you feel like you can lean on. And both of them have unbelievable weapons on offense. It's just the quarterback, can you get them the ball? So,
Yeah.
No, yeah, I definitely I'm with you. I think that the Lions are, but I don't think anybody would say that the Lions or the Titans, either one, are a real threat to win the Super Bowl. Like, would you say that either one of them realistically you would put money on to win the Super Bowl?
No, but I will say this. So the team that worries me with Detroit in the NFC, it's not the Eagles, it's not the Vikings, it's the San Francisco 49ers. I don't
Yeah.
see Detroit being able to beat that Niners team because that
No.
defense is so elite.
And their offense is
Right,
very
right.
good.
The Eagles, however, this Detroit team should have beat them in week 1. And this is now I get that this was 15 weeks ago. It's two very different teams now, but I think if I'm Detroit and I have to face the Eagles in the playoffs, I'm looking back at that week 1 game, going, we had this team beat and we let it slip through our fingertips. We can do it again. So I'm not as worried about them beating the Eagles, but I think that if for whatever reason the stars align and they get a path where they don't have to face San Francisco, I think the Lions could make a run at it. Honestly, I think that they're talented enough to where if everything is clicking, if everything is going their way, they can make a Super Bowl run, or at the very least a deep playoff run. Do I think it will happen? No, I don't, because I think that a lack of experience and just being a little too young at this point is going to hurt them. But I think that they definitely have the talent to put up a fight.
Yes, I'm with you. I could see them getting. I could see them winning in the first round.
Yeah.
But I don't see them as a second, third round playoff team. Like I don't see them doing that. Even against the Eagles, you think about the chemistry that Jalen Hurts has with AJ Brown now. Obviously, all this is barring
No, I
Jalen
agree.
Hurts injury. You
Yeah.
bring more, but AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts is the most deadly duo in the league right now. So,
Yeah.
like, I don't think that they had the chemistry quite yet. And I'm
agree.
I'm gonna say this right now. I think Jalen Hurts is the best mind at quarterback in the league. His ability to read the defense, to read the option. I've never seen anybody. He had a play on Sunday where they lined up in man. Who were they playing on Sunday? Who were the Eagles playing on Sunday?
Thought it was the Giants, but that was last week. The Bears.
Okay. You can cut all that out because we sound dumb. So he's lined up. I know it's the Bears defense, but they're lined up in man, and the safety drops down like he's going to blitz. And when Hurts snaps the ball, he reads that safety is blitzing, and he knows I have a straight shot to the end zone, and he runs it like 20 yards up there, just up the gut, untouched into the end zone. And like they showed that play back, and I was like, his ability to so quickly say that safety's coming. I know that the rest of them are in man. I'm gone. And he knew it. Like he took off and he was like, this is it. Done.
Yeah.
And it's just his ability to read. You see it on the read option. It's why other teams don't run the read option as well as the Eagles do. And it's because of the guy who's running the read option. I don't think there's anybody smarter in the league playing quarterback right now than Jalen Hurts.
Yeah. You could be right about that. And I mean, we very easily could see a Lions-Eagles matchup in the second round, because if it works out, this Lions team is probably going to be the 7th seed, which means they're going to be taking on the 2 seed, which will probably be the Minnesota Vikings, who they just beat a couple weeks ago and played incredibly close earlier in the season. So that would be a very fun first round matchup and a game that Detroit can absolutely win. and move on to face Philly. So it could be fun, and Detroit might get a real big test of how good they actually are in that second round. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Let's move over to Baltimore. We've got your Dirty Birds from ATL heading in to take on the Baltimore Ravens. It's a bird fight.
Yeah.
In
We went from the big cat matchup to the
Yeah.
bird fight.
the bird fight out in Baltimore. Do we have word on if Lamar is actually coming back? I know that this was the date that they were aiming for, but I know that he's still kind of been day to day.
Yeah, from what I've heard, I was similar that they are anticipating him coming back. But so far, this is as of 4 hours ago, Yahoo Sports. Lamar didn't practice today.
Okay.
Um,
There's still no
So-
official word. They're gonna need him because they looked bad on Saturday against the Browns. And credit, the Browns have a good defense, but they haven't been playing great defense all year, and that offense looked rough. It looked bad.
Yeah.
Part of me honestly wants to pick the Falcons in this game, and it's because of how this Ravens team has looked lately. But if Lamar is playing, I don't know if that defense can stop him, man. I mean, that's a tough matchup. We do have a little bit of news regarding some roster transactions. I don't know if you're aware, but the Packers, I believe yesterday, waived Sammy Watkins because that was a free agent signing that really worked out just fantastically for Green Bay.
swimmingly.
They waived him. The Ravens have picked him up. He is now on the Baltimore Ravens, which he's played in Baltimore before.
Yeah.
And Devin Duvernay, who I feel like was their leading receiver outside of Mark Andrews, was placed on IR. So, a couple of roster transactions. I think this Ravens team is just in a really rough spot right now with the injury bug, guys not being 100%, which makes me really want to pick the Falcons. But I think I'm going to stick with the Ravens. They're just the more talented team and the better coach team. I don't know.
Hey now.
It's tough.
Hey now.
It is tough. Listen, I like Arthur Smith, but John Harbaugh is, in my opinion, a top 5 coach in the league. If you're in Baltimore and you want to go see this game, tickets are only $10. So I would pay. I'd drop a Hamilton on that game. Baltimore 7.5 point favorites. Who you got, man?
Did you say you're taking the Ravens?
I'm gonna take the Ravens.
Okay. I didn't remember a specific.
It's tough, man. I really want to pick Atlanta, but I think they're just gonna be overmatched a little bit.
Yeah. The Baltimore Ravens, if this helps you feel any better, are only allowing 85 rushing yards per game.
Yeah.
So
And if Atlanta doesn't have the rush attack, they got nothing.
right.
I mean,
So-
don't get me wrong. Like Desmond looked decent at times,
yeah,
and
he's
I
the
think
rookie.
there was a little bit of chemistry building there between Ritter and London, which is good for fans to see.
Yeah.
But it's too much too soon. I feel like for this team. So yeah.
And to not have Kyle Pitts with a quarterback that you
Yes.
want to throw the ball more. They did get Cordero involved a little bit more in the pass game this week, which was nice to see. But yeah, I'm with you. I've got the Ravens in this one. I don't see the Falcons winning this game. Even with Brett Huntley, I think that the Falcons defense is just so bad.
Yeah.
That I don't see them being able to stop even Brett Huntley, which is just so. I mean, Andy Dalton looked good.
Yeah.
Like that's bad.
Well,
When Andy Dalton looks fine.
Dalton's looked decent all season in New Orleans.
Well,
He hasn't. I mean, this has been probably his best season since leaving Cincinnati, which I think says a lot because he's been gone for
I don't-
like 5 years now.
He was pretty solid in Dallas when he backed up Dak. He did.
True.
He's had his quintessential Andy Dalton self in New Orleans. But anyway, regardless, I think this Falcons defense is stinky poo poo. So give me the Ravens.
Yeah, it's rough. let's head on up to Chicago, Soldier Field. We've got the Buffalo Bills kind of maybe looking like they are actually the best team in the AFC. That was a good back and forth game against Miami on Saturday night. Bills getting the win, heading into Chicago to take on this Bears team. Buffalo on the road, 9-point favorites as they should be.
This one's the battle of the bees, the Bears and the Bills.
Yeah, the Bears and the Bills. I've got the Bills win this one. I think this is a pretty easy game to call. Who you got, man?
Yeah, same. And I don't know. Did Justin Fields get hurt on Sunday? Because I know that he was like,
I don't know. I know he's been dealing with some injuries.
oh, he's not listed, I don't think, on the injury report. So
yeah.
you're fine. But
yeah, I don't see much to really even watch for in this game. I guess if you're a Bears fan, you can keep watching to see if there's some progress being made with that offense, get maybe some more chemistry with Justin Fields and his receivers. Maybe he's getting improving in the passing game. But I think that Josh Allen's going to tear that defense apart, whether he decides to run the ball or pass it to Diggs or Davis. I just don't see it being much of a game.
No, I'm with you. Yeah, give me the Bills in this one.
Let's head on down to Cleveland, where we have Andy Dalton and those New Orleans Saints heading up to take on Massage Boy and the rest of the gang. Cleveland are 2.5-point favorites after coming off that win over the Ravens. I've got the Browns in this one. I don't feel good about it. I don't want to pick either of these teams. I think they're both just too mediocre to below average teams. I think Cleveland has a lot going for it for the future. There's a lot of talent there on both sides of the ball, but I think it's just a little too late for that team to really do much. They are still in the hunt technically, and if they win out, I think they have a shot at sneaking in, but I don't see it happening. Tickets are only $4 though, if you want to go to this. They're $4 to go see a professional NFL football game.
It's like a cup of coffee. Like you can either get a cup of coffee or go watch. And hey, let's be careful throwing around the word professional football when we're talking about the Browns and the Saints. This is essentially a spring league football game.
Hey, it's still guys getting paid millions upon millions of dollars to play this game.
That's true. So if you want to go see your sleazy uncle play on Sunday for the Browns,
just don't think about it like that. Just think about going and seeing a fantastic running back and Nick Chubb play football.
And Baker Mayfield's old team.
Yeah,
go see Baker Mayfield's old team.
Yeah,
and Johnny Manziel's old team.
Go tour his old house. That was his home when he was doing those progressive commercials.
Right. Yeah.
Just go take a tour, go see the sights, and watch old Chubby run out there and light it up. Hopefully.
Yeah, I don't know if you officially said that you were taking the Browns, but I know I'm taking the Browns.
I did. Yeah. Again, I don't feel good about it, but this Saints team is garbage. This Browns team is maybe slightly better garbage. I don't know. They're at home, so I guess I'll take the home team.
And they have a really good player in Nick Chubb, which is more than the Saints can say.
And Myles Garrett.
Yeah.
Both sides of the ball.
Yep.
Let's head on over to Nashville, where we have the Houston Texans coming into town to take on the Tennessee Titans. This is back-to-back weeks that the Texans have, for whatever reason, put up a fight against two phenomenal teams in the Cowboys and the Chiefs.
I told you that's what they do.
I just don't understand what this team is even playing for. What are we doing? And part of me almost wants to pick them to beat the Titans because I think that lowly of where the Titans are currently, I feel like the Titans are that beatable. And the way the Texans have looked against two very good teams, anything's possible. But Tennessee at home, 5-point favorites. I think I'm sticking with the Titans because it's the Texans and they're 12-1 for a reason. But
yeah,
I don't know, man. Who you got?
Yeah, I think that if this were in Houston, I would almost think it's a trap game, especially when with Houston doing this like dual QB thing. I think is just like weird, but it's working for them somehow.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, more power to them. But and who knows? Maybe against this Titans defense that can't stop the pass, maybe that's going to be the secret sauce. But also, don't see this Texans team even like being close to stopping Derrick Henry. Like what?
Yeah.
I don't even know how you like try to get hyped for that. Like, come on, guys, you can do you almost if you all work together, you can tackle Derrick Henry. But we're gonna need all hands on deck. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna stick with the Titans in this one. But I will say that if this were a Texans home game, it's one of those like I don't see them only winning one game. It's just like like that's a rarity in the NFL is
Yeah.
to only win one game. Now they did tie, so maybe that counts as their like other part.
But like when you look at the way this team has played the last 2 weeks, they look like they're better than a 1-win team.
Right.
Like this
And
is
so it's like that second win. I feel like it's come. Let's see. You know what? Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna decide when the Texans' next win is gonna come, and see if this is their best option. We already know one of them is against the Jags.
I think their best option is in Week 18 when they face the Colts.
Oh yeah, that's
So
gonna be
they got the Titans, the Jags, the Colts, and I could see them winning 2 out of those 3 games. I think they're definitely going to win one of them.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it's not against the Jags, and to help out the Jags, maybe it'll be this week.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just a weird time in Houston. Like I don't understand.
Isn't it always a weird time in Houston?
I don't know.
Isn't it just a weird city? No, that's Austin.
That's Austin.
Yep.
I don't know what's happening. Why this team is playing like this? Like you're the bottom of the league. What like if you string together wins, you're going to worsen your draft pick. What are we doing? What I don't even think they're that set up well for the future. I don't even know, man. Like it's a weird
Send them
time.
to London. Send them to London. Let's just send them across the pond, kick them on over.
Well, the London Texans don't have quite the same ring to it.
I like it. I like it a lot. I like it a lot. The London Texans. They would love it though. I mean, could you imagine like you get to embrace like all the cowboy culture in Texas and wear spurs?
That might be the most American thing that America has ever done by sending a team to England and forcing them to be like this over Americanized version of themselves by building or by buying cowboy hats and spurs and boots and rooting for a team called the Texans.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, I like it though. Or the Yankees. The London Yankees. That'd be good.
Oh, let's head out to Kansas City for maybe one of the better early window games on Saturday. We have the Seattle Seahawks heading into Arrowhead to take on the Kansas City Chiefs. I say better. I still don't give the Seahawks team much of a chance.
No.
I think they're just trending in the wrong direction. For as much luck as they had early on, the luck has run out. The luster has faded. We're starting to see kind of what the Seahawks team I think actually is. And Kansas City are 9.5-point favorites. They're a very good football team. Probably a top 3, top 4 team in the league. At least top 3 in the AFC. I've got the Chiefs winning this one pretty easily, although I am worried the tiniest amount because of the way they looked against the Texans.
No, I'm not.
Who you got, man?
The Texans, they're like the Bermuda Triangle of the NFL.
I mean, that's
like,
fair. That is fair.
That's like, why are we playing with this? I wonder if the Texans, they just make everybody play with a rugby ball. And everybody's like, this feels a little weird.
They also looked very weird against the Broncos 2 weeks ago, too. They allowed that Broncos team to get back into it when they were, I want to say they were up like 27-0 at halftime or something like that. And they allowed the Broncos to come back and make it a game very quickly. Ultimately, the Chiefs did win, but that's 2 weeks in a row where you've struggled against bottom 5 teams in the league. So that worries me a little bit.
I don't know. I don't. I'm not worried at all. I'm taking the Chiefs in this one. I think that we loved the Geno Smith story that he ain't right back, but it kind of looks like he's starting to dip his pen in the ink a little bit. That he's like, well,
Yeah.
maybe I should write back because things are
I
not
should at
going
least send a
great.
postcard or something,
Yeah. Just let them know, like, hey, to whom it may concern. So yeah, I'm gonna stick with the Chiefs in this one.
Yeah, I mean,
I think we've
I'm
agreed
not.
on every game so far.
I feel like that's going to happen. This is not a good slate of games this
No.
weekend. For as good as this past weekend of football was, this is looking rough.
And the further into the season we get, the easier it is to predict
Yeah.
matchups.
Yeah. But let's head on up to Minnesota. We have the New York Giants heading into town to take on the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings are 3.5-point favorites. Both these teams getting wins on Sunday. Well, I guess not on Sunday. One was on Saturday, but both got wins. Both got wins last week. I'm just not a believer in this Giants team. I know that they're sitting in a very good position to make the playoffs after that win over the Commanders Sunday night. I believe they have like an 80 or 90% chance of making the playoffs now, is what they said. And the loser, the Commanders, got knocked down to like a 30% chance. I'm not buying it, man. I'm not buying this Giants team. I don't think they're good. I think they just happen to get lucky at the right times, and they've played a pretty easy schedule. And this Vikings team is still tough to believe in because they do play so many games close, and they do allow the teams to put up a fight when they're far inferior teams. But I'm picking the Vikings. They're 3.5-point favorites at home. I don't love it though. I could see the Giants sneaking this one out because the Vikings tend to let their opponents make it a game. But who you got, man?
Yeah, I'm with you. I've got the Vikings in this one too. I don't see I don't see the Giants as real threats. It really is like, I don't know how this team has 8 wins and is headed to the playoffs. Like, it just doesn't feel right.
Yep.
Like, I don't know that I would consider the Giants much better than any of the teams in the NFC South. It's just that somehow they've done it.
I agree.
Where those other teams couldn't. So
yeah, I would say that it's like if you take the Giants and the Falcons, compare them next to each other, I feel like for every single game that the Falcons have had won and ended up losing, the Giants have had lost and ended up winning.
Right.
So, yeah, it's just the ball's bounced the Giants' way and it hasn't bounced the Falcons' way. And that's the way it goes sometimes. But, yeah, I'm with you, man. I would rather see, honestly, if I'm being honest, I'd rather see the Packers in the playoffs than this Giants team. I'd rather see the Commanders. I'd rather see the Seahawks. I'd rather see the Lions. I'd rather see maybe even another NFC South team over this Giants team. I just don't think they're good. I think they're that big of frauds.
Yeah. We'll see. And I like Danny Dimes. I like Saquon. So like there are some pieces on that team that are nice.
I agree. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't see this as an 8-5 team. I mean, it's just fraudulent.
And here's maybe a reason why. I'm looking at the standings right now, and when you compare the points for and points against, the Giants have scored 287 points all season. Do you want to know who else has scored 287 points all season? The Green Bay Packers.
Wow.
Do you know who scored 286 points all season? The New Orleans Saints. The Giants have also allowed 312 points, so they have a negative 25 differential. The Packers have allowed 314. The Panthers have allowed 314. The Saints have allowed 315. So it's like this team is right there playing similarly as those three teams, and they just happen to have a winning record while doing so. So yeah, they're not good. They're not good. The record just says differently. But let's head on out to Foxborough. We have the Cincinnati Bengals heading into town to take on the New England Patriots, coming off that crazy loss to the Raiders. The Bengals getting the big win over the Bucks. On the road, the Bengals are 3.5-point favorites. I think that's fair. I think this is a better team. I've got the Bengals winning probably pretty easily. I'm losing a lot of faith in this Patriots team. I want to believe they're good, and I still think that there are elements to them that are good, but it ain't all clicking right now. And I think that some of that is due to the leadership that's in place. I'm not calling out Bill Belichick necessarily. I think Bill Belichick's still one of the greatest coaches of all time, if not the greatest. But the guys that he has in place below him, I don't think are getting the job done. I think there's a rift between Mac Jones and I guess Matt Patricia, who is the offensive coordinator, even though he's a defensive-minded coach. I think that it's not whatever they have in place there ain't working. And Bill, you got a job to do in the offseason. You got to fix it.
Bill's big listener to the podcast. We know.
Big listener.
Love Bill. Hope you're doing good, Bill.
So yeah, I'm taking Cincinnati. Who you got, man?
Yeah, this you talk about a team that you're losing faith in, and you contrast that to this Bengals team, who is starting to look like that Bengals team who went to the Super Bowl last year.
Yep.
Just a really, really good, just all around football team. And so I think that the Bengals are on a similar track that they were last year, that this is a team who could get in. Now they got experience. Now they know what it takes. So, maybe they make another run at the Super Bowl. Maybe they're able to get it done. But yeah, I like the Bengals in this one.
Yep. I'm with you. Let's head on out to Santa Clara, California, where we have the Washington Commanders heading in to take on the San Francisco 49ers. The Commanders need every win they can get. Unfortunately, they have a difficult schedule down the stretch, and it starts on Sunday or on Saturday when they have to face this San Francisco 49ers team that is red hot, really, really good on both sides of the ball, getting it done, and at home are 7-point favorites. I think that's fair. I could see this 49ers team winning by double digits, at least 2 possessions. As much as I like the Commanders, as much as I would love to see them make a little bit of a run, I'm starting to lose faith. Their offense has sputtered the last couple weeks, and the Niners are just too good in all facets of the game. So I've got to roll with San Francisco. Who you got, man?
Yep, I'm with you. I think that San Francisco is just, again, we agree on maybe every game this week.
I think it probably will be.
We only disagreed on one last week, and I was right, so that's good news. But
That's some
yeah,
garbage.
I also think that the 49ers are I hesitate to say that they might be the best team in the league. If not, they're right there with them.
Yeah.
So yeah, give me the 49ers in this one against a mediocre commie team.
Yeah. Well, let's head on out to Big D for, I guess, the spiciest matchup. It feels a little less spicy, not knowing whether or not Jalen Hurts will be able to play. The latest report that I've seen is that Nick Sirianni is hopeful that Hurts will be able to play. I know Hurts wants to play as long as he's healthy. We have the Philadelphia Eagles heading into Dallas to take on the Dallas Cowboys. And currently, at home, the Cowboys are 5-point favorites despite the loss they just had against the Jags. I think that a lot of that is due to the Hurts injury. The last report I saw is that it was a shoulder sprain. And if Hurts is not able to go, it will be Gardner Minshew out there on the field leading this Eagles offense. And honestly, I think Minshew might still be good enough to get it done with the way the Cowboys have looked recently. I'm not 100% sold on that, but I'm going to pick the Eagles over the Cowboys just because... oh, wait, hold on. I have written down Cowboys over Eagles. What am I thinking over here? I need to marinate on this a second. Who you got, man?
I actually have the Cowboys over the Eagles. Okay, here's why. I think that if you're the Eagles, listen, I know that this win gets you the division.
Yeah.
But if you sit Jalen this week, let him get healthy.
Yeah.
Your next 2 games are against the Saints and the Giants. Very winnable games.
Yeah.
The only team that's close to you is the Vikings, and you have a 2-game lead over the Vikings.
Yeah.
So as long as you don't lose 2 games, you're still good for the main thing that you're playing for at this point, which is
First round bye.
the first round bye. I say sit him. Sit him. Let Gardner Minshew come out, and you're gonna lose. If Gardner Minshew comes out, this Eagles team loses. Period. Ain't no
know, man.
way.
I don't know.
Ain't no way. The Eagles defense is good, but it's not good enough to be. It's not good enough to carry them. I'm telling you, the reason that this Eagles team is as good as they are is Jalen Hurts' ability to read defenses. Unbelievable. I'm gonna stick with the Cowboys. And if Jalen Hurts plays, I'm just going to be wrong.
For the sake of us having at least one game that we disagree on,
Okay.
I will roll with the Philadelphia Eagles. I agree with your logic. I think that if there's any question mark there, rest him, because you only got to win one over your last 3 to get the number 1 seed, and you have 2 very winnable games on your remaining schedule. This is the toughest game. What's the point? What's the point in putting him out there if he's even slightly injured, just to have Micah Parsons potentially, mess him up real bad? But I also think that Minshew can be successful. This is maybe the best 1-2 punch at wide receiver between AJ Brown and Devontae Smith in the league. They have a solid running back committee behind whoever's playing quarterback. They have one of the best offensive lines in football. They have a very good tight end in Dallas Goedert. I think Minshew can have some success, and I think the way the Cowboys defense has looked lately, you don't have to be phenomenal to put up points on them. You just gotta be good, or maybe even a little bit better than good. And I think Minshew can do that. And I think the Eagles defense is good enough to hold the Cowboys to a minimal amount of points to where Minshew can be successful. But it will be an uphill battle for him, for sure.
All right. So we disagree.
Disagree on one. We got to get one, right? Got to get one. Well, let's head on up to Pittsburgh for the nightcap on Christmas Eve. We have the Las Vegas Raiders. You get the rolled R because you got the win. Heading into Pittsburgh, take on the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers are 3-point favorites. This is, I think, like the anniversary of the Immaculate Reception game or something like that. That's what it's been billed as over on NFL Network. I don't really care who wins this game. They're both 6-8 teams. They're both probably not making the playoffs, and they're both subpar teams. I've got the Steelers written down, and I think I'm going to roll with that just because I want to see the Steelers win. I want to see Mike Tomlin keep that streak going of not having a losing season. Yeah, that's all I've got invested in this one. Who you got, man?
Yeah, I actually didn't even see this game to pick it. And it's like, you know what? It makes sense. But I do think that Pittsburgh, their defense is really good still. TJ Watt still an absolute force. Fitzpatrick, Hayward on the line. I mean, this is still a force to be reckoned with of a defense.
Yeah.
And so I think that the Steelers and Najee Harris has been, kind of reemerged. I think I saw that they think that Pickett might be back on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Which I mean, that's probably better than Trubisky, I think.
Although to Mitch's credit, he hasn't played terrible the last couple weeks. So I'm one of the biggest critics of Mitch, and I gotta say he hasn't played terrible. So,
but I mean, yeah, I guess we don't need. I mean,
there's not much to talk about. Yeah,
this game. Also with you, I'm taking Steelers.
Well, let's turn the page over to Christmas Day And I gotta say, for as good as the matchups were on Thanksgiving, this holiday slate is rough. Rough.
Yes.
Kicking us off at 1 p.m. over on Fox. I wouldn't blame you if you chose to watch basketball on Christmas instead of these games.
I probably will.
But we have the Green Bay Packers heading down to Miami to take on the Miami Dolphins. At home, the Dolphins are 4-point favorites. It's probably fair. This Packers team has shown a little bit of life, although they were playing the Rams on Monday night, so it's easy to show life against the Rams.
Yeah.
But I think they're starting to get some things clicking on that offense. Romeo Doubs is back. He looked solid. Christian Watson made a couple of big plays. Aaron Jones had a very, very good game. So if the offense can do that against this Miami team, which I don't think they can, because Miami team is much better, but if they can, maybe it'll be a close game. Who knows? But I've got to go with the Dolphins in this one. Who you got, man?
Yeah, there's no reason to pick the Packers in this game. I don't. Packers have looked good against bad teams, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the Dolphins have only lost 2 games with Tua at QB, so maybe
Yeah.
3. So yeah, give me Tua and the Dolphins in this one.
Yeah, I'm with you. And I think that if the Packers lose this game on Sunday, we're probably going to see Jordan Love starting the last 2. That would be my guess. Everything I've seen is that they're waiting until the Packers are mathematically eliminated, which they still might not be after this game. But that's what they're waiting on to potentially make the quarterback switch. To see what they have in Jordan Love, potentially rest Aaron Rodgers down the stretch instead of risking any kind of long-term injury to him. Whether or not he decides to ride off into the sunset or come back and run it back for another year, who knows? But yeah, I would suspect that we see Jordan Love week 17 and 18 if the Packers do in fact lose. If they win, it's a different story because you're still alive, and I don't know. Maybe they can make a run.
Ugh.
Who knows? Let's head on out to LA, SoFi Stadium. We have the Denver Broncos heading into town to take on the Los Angeles Rams. On the road, the Broncos are 2.5-point favorites. This is another game that's like this. Why do we need to even play this game or watch it? These teams stink. They're terrible. I've got the Broncos over the Rams in this one because the Broncos have shown me a little bit more life over the last couple of weeks. So, yeah, give me Denver, I guess. Who you got, man?
Same exact logic that it's like probably Denver for some reason. The Rams are just so bad. So
Yep.
yeah, give me Denver in this one for some reason, I guess, because
Yep.
I have to pick it.
And finishing off the Christmas slate of games, we have on Sunday Night Football over on NBC, the Brady Bay Buccaneers heading out to the desert to take on the Arizona Cardinals. On the road, Tampa Bay are 6.5-point favorites. Again, I have the Bucs winning this one because somebody's got to, and I don't have that much faith in the Cardinals. I think they're a mess of a team, and this Bucs team might be slightly less of a mess. I don't know. I'm picking Tampa. I don't like it. I hate doing it. Who you got, man?
I'm actually going with the Cardinals in this one. I think this is one of those where
Heyo!
another one. Brr, 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 brr. I think this is another one of those where it's not necessarily a case of the better team winning. It's just the case of like the Cards are finally able to put something together at home in one of their last weeks. Bucks are a bad team, and so if they're gonna get another win on the board, which I think they're capable of doing, this is a good one to get. So I think that it's that was honestly my logic in picking this game. I think that it's not necessarily that the Bucks are that awful or that the Cards are that good. I just think that it's like they're kind of due one. So this is one.
Yeah, and they're playing at home, so
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah.
And I always prefer to pick against Tom Brady if I've got even just the slightest inkling.
I'm with you. I just couldn't quite do it in this one.
No, it's fair.
Let's head over to Monday Night Football to finish off Week 16. We have the Los Angeles Chargers heading into Indianapolis to face the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts coming off that terrible loss to the Vikings. The Chargers getting a nice win over the Titans. On the road, the Chargers are 4-point favorites. I think that's probably fair given where these two teams are. I've got the Chargers winning this one. I don't think it will be particularly close, although I wouldn't be surprised because the Colts can play teams close. They just can't quite get it done when they need to. And I've got the Chargers. I think the Chargers are trending in the right direction. They're finally starting to get healthy. Things are starting to click for them. So yeah, give me LA. Who you got, man?
Yeah, same. Chargers. I think that the Chargers. I just really like this Chargers team. I want to see them continue. I want to see them continue to fight through the injuries and the struggles they're having, and I see no reason for them to lose to this less than stellar Colts team.
Yep. I agree. Well, that closes out the Christmas weekend of football that we have. And hey, if you're listening, we appreciate it. Hopefully you have very safe travels to wherever you're going to spend time with friends, family, whoever. Hopefully, however you are celebrating the holidays, you have a very, very fantastic, spectacular time of fellowship with your family and friends and whatnot. We appreciate you listening. It's a gift to us that we have the support that we have. So we appreciate it. If you're watching on YouTube, click that subscribe button. That way you're notified every time we go live. If you listen to us on Spotify or Apple or however you consume podcasts, thank you. And if you want, you can follow us on our socials. It's usually at Booth Review Pod, most places. Sometimes there's an underscore in there. And we have a Discord. Hop into the Discord. Come chat with us. I'm sure we'll be doing some Christmas talk when the day comes, as we're talking every single day. We did just rank the top 10 Christmas movies. If you want to check that out in the Discord, come on over and have some fun in there with us.
Do you want to know? Here. This is just going to be for fun. This is for free, not part of it. Do you want to? Do you want to know how many of those Christmas movies I've actually seen? So
Three.
out of those 10, I have seen 1, 2, 3, maybe 4. I think I've seen Christmas Story all the way through one time. I've seen Elf. I've never seen Christmas Vacation other than snippets on TV.
What?
I've definitely seen Santa Claus. I've never seen Home Alone. Bits and pieces of Christmas Story, at least. I think I've seen the whole thing. Definitely seen How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Never seen Nightmare Before Christmas. Oh, I have seen Die Hard. So 4. I don't think I've ever seen Polar Express. I think I tried one time and it just creeped me out, man. The animation is just weird. Actually, I do think Maddie made me watch it. I think that's 5. And I don't think I've ever seen Muppet Christmas Carol, other than maybe like when I was in school and watching it in class.
It's a fun one, man. Any Muppet movie is a fun one, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's fine. Hey, I've got nothing against any of those movies. I've just never seen. My family, we're not Christmas movie people. We're travel to see family that lives hour plus away, and then travel to see other family that lives hour plus the other way in the other direction. So most of my time in Christmas was spent in the car with my my CD player, trying to make sure my CDs didn't skip.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as you know, my mom is the Christmas movie queen, and more times than not, it's the cheesy garbage Hallmark movies, unfortunately. But yeah, we watched a lot of Christmas movies growing up. I haven't really done that as much as I've become an adult. My wife will watch Christmas movies in June because
she loves the
Grinch. She'll watch the Grinch year round. She will watch Christmas with the Cranks year round. And I don't quite understand it, but whatever, do it. You do you. I do love a good Christmas movie, but I don't watch them nearly as much as an adult. But yeah, those were our top 10 that we ranked recently in the Discord. So come hop into the Discord and join in on the conversation. But as always, I think That's that. A solid episode. What's going on, Pete?
What up, man? I don't even have chat open anymore.
Hopping in here to yell at Blake about his Titans love.
Listen, you act like Peter's opinion actually bothers me or has any weight on me one way or the other.
Hey, technically, he is the other half of Booth Review come spring football.
That's true.
So, which I don't know what we're doing this year. I don't know if we're going to cover the XFL or the USFL or try and do both, which I kind of don't want to do.
USXL.
That would be a lot. But the XFL starts right after the NFL season stops, like literally the next weekend. The USFL season doesn't start until the end of April.
You
But-
should base it off who has more followers on social media. On like which one are you gonna get more traction? The XFL or the USFL? Who has the bigger following?
That's a good question. I just wanted to look at the Facebook likes real quick and just see what we're looking at. XFL has 217,000 likes on Facebook. The USFL has 46,000.
Holy guacamole!
So yeah, that's a big difference.
XFL on
Which
Twitter
I
has
would have
363,000. The USFL on Twitter has 121,000. So less than half.
Yeah, that I mean, I would have guessed that the XFL has a better presence. They've done everything much better, in my opinion, than the USFL did. So, I think we might be an XFL podcast for year 2 of spring league coverage. Which I liked the USFL. I thought it was fun, but of the 3 leagues that have happened over the last 4 years now, the 5 weeks of XFL was way more enjoyable and fun than anything else that's been put out there. And I don't know why that was. I just think that it was a good time. The fans were fantastic. You had the DC Defenders packing out a soccer stadium every single week, which holds 19,000 people. You had them selling out that stadium, packing it out every single week, going crazy for a team that, why care about them? They've only been a team for 3 weeks. And it sucks that COVID shut it down, because I think that league could have been in a very good position now if they didn't have to, shut down. But
yeah,
is what it is. All right, man.
All right.
It's a good episode.
Yeah, man. I'll catch you later.
All right, man.
I'm tired. I'm gonna go crash.
I hear you. Pete, thanks for hanging out, man. We appreciate it.
Whoa, that finger's real close when I point it at the camera. Got a huge hand.
We'll catch y'all later.
Later.
All right.